Deep underground, 12 boys and their coach are sitting in rising water, their hearts beating in sync as if the end is near. They know, time is running out. This is no longer just a game, it's a fight for survival. A few kilometers away, the water is swallowing everything in its path. With every passing minute, they are drawing closer to death. No one knows if they're still alive, but there's one chance for salvation. The astonishing story of the Wild Boars football team's remarkable rescue stands as one of the most incredible and heart-wrenching tales of survival, resilience, and unyielding human bravery in modern history. It all unfolded in the tranquil rural village of Mae Sai, situated in the lush, mountainous region of northern Thailand, just a stone's throw from the border with Myanmar. This picturesque area, known for its lush greenery and serene beauty, had been home to generations of peaceful villagers leading simple lives. Among these locals were the 12 young players of the Wild Boars football team, boys aged between 11 and 16, and their assistant coach, Ekapol Chantawong, who was in his early 30s. The team was like family, bound together not just by their shared love of football, but by the deep camaraderie and friendship that grew from countless hours spent training, laughing, and playing together. Each day after school, they would gather at a nearby field to run drills, practice their skills, and enjoy the thrill of the game. Life seemed simple and carefree, as it often is for children so deeply engrossed in their passions. Then, on the afternoon of June 23, 2018, everything changed. After a long and fulfilling practice, the boys wrapped up their session, exhausted but happy. Their faces were flushed from the exertion, but there was excitement in the air, the promise of a weekend spent relaxing with their families. Coach Ekapol, known for his composed and patient manner, said his goodbyes and left to attend a meeting with an older football team. The boys, however, had different plans. Their curiosity piqued, the boys decided to take a spontaneous detour and explore the nearby Tam Luang Cave, a famous natural wonder known for its stunning stalactites and stalagmites. The cave had long been a popular destination for tourists and locals alike, but what seemed like an innocent, adventurous outing would soon turn into a nightmare. Little did they know that their decision to explore the cave that evening would set in motion a series of events that would capture the world's attention and test the limits of human endurance. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the boys failed to return home, concern began to creep into the hearts of their families. It was unlike them to stay out so late, and they hadn't informed anyone of their whereabouts. Coach Ekapol, who had grown close to the boys over the years, initially dismissed his worries, thinking they might simply be lingering around the cave or playing in the vicinity. But as the hours passed and his calls went unanswered, dread began to take hold of him. Realizing something was terribly wrong, Ekapol rushed to the cave, hoping to find the boys unharmed and on their way home. But when he arrived, the sight before him sent a chill down his spine. The entrance to the cave, a narrow, foreboding passageway leading into the dark unknown, stood eerily silent. The boys' bikes were abandoned outside, untouched and undisturbed. No voices, no laughter, no sign of the young adventurers. Panic began to grip Ekapol's heart. He knew something had gone terribly awry. The monsoon rains, which had begun to fall heavily, would be rapidly flooding the cave system, making it even more treacherous. His heart sank as he realized the gravity of the situation. There was no time to lose. The boys were trapped inside the cave, and the clock was ticking. In a state of sheer desperation, Ekapol immediately contacted the local police, hoping for a swift response. Within hours, authorities arrived at the scene, and the search operation was launched without delay. However, the severe flooding presented a monumental challenge. The floodwaters surged rapidly, quickly transforming the cave's interior into a dangerous, fast-moving maze of water. Local police and rescue teams made their first attempts to enter the cave and search for the boys, but they were immediately stymied by the rising water levels, which made even the entrance nearly impossible to navigate. The cave's narrow, flooded passageways seemed to mock their every effort, each step forward only leading to more obstacles. As the situation grew increasingly dire, it became evident that this wasn't going to be a simple rescue operation. The cave system was vast, stretching more than 10 kilometers with countless chambers, twists, and narrow tunnels. The waters had filled the entrance, effectively blocking any direct access to the interior. The sheer scale of the cave's labyrinthine layout and the relentless floodwaters meant that every movement, every decision, was fraught with danger. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Thai authorities quickly enlisted additional help, calling in elite personnel from the Thai Navy SEALs. This group of highly trained divers and rescue experts, known for their unparalleled skills in underwater missions, arrived on the scene, ready to take on the impossible. Yet, even they faced insurmountable obstacles. The cave's intricate and often treacherous passages, coupled with the unpredictable and rapid flooding, meant that their expertise would be tested to its absolute limits. With each passing hour, the pressure grew heavier, and the risk of failure loomed larger. Meanwhile, the world began to take notice of the unfolding disaster. As news of the wild boar's disappearance spread, the media coverage intensified. Reports flooded in from across the globe, and the families, friends, and well-wishers of the boys gathered at the cave's entrance, clinging to a fragile hope that news of their loved ones' survival would emerge. Despite their best efforts, the rescue teams were making minimal progress, and the constant battle against the rising water left everyone with a gnawing sense of dread. The passage of time was agonizing, and with every day that passed, the fears of the boys' survival grew stronger. Then, on June 25th, 2 days after the search began, a breakthrough came in the form of 2 British cave divers, John Valanthan and Rick Stanton. These seasoned experts, known worldwide for their unparalleled experience in cave exploration and rescue operations, were called in to assist. They had successfully navigated similar high-risk rescues in the past, but the complexity of the Tham Luang cave system posed a challenge that even they couldn't fully predict. The operation shifted its focus towards mapping the cave's labyrinthine layout, searching for the most promising areas where the boys might have taken shelter. With nerves of steel, the 2 divers entered the cave system, diving into the dark, narrow passages. They waded through water, crawled through tight spaces, and fought through exhaustion. Every moment in the cave was fraught with danger. The chance of encountering more rising waters, tight squeezes, or a sudden drop in oxygen levels weighed heavily on their minds. But against all odds, after days of relentless searching, they reached a breakthrough. On July 2nd, nearly a week after the boys had first been reported missing, the divers discovered a faint glimmer of hope. They found an elevated area inside the cave, a chamber known as Pattaya Beach, where they believed the boys had sought refuge. It was here, in the darkness of the cave, that the unthinkable happened. There, sitting in the shadows, were all 13 members of the team, alive. The sight of the boys, weak and terrified but still very much alive, was a moment of indescribable relief. It was a triumph over nearly insurmountable odds, but even though they had survived the initial shock, the ordeal was far from over. The boys had been trapped in the cave for 9 excruciating days. They were severely dehydrated, weak from the lack of food, and emotionally drained from the constant fear of the rising floodwaters. Despite their harrowing circumstances, the boys had managed to remain calm, relying on each other for support. They had retreated to the higher chambers of the cave to avoid the rising water, and while they had little to survive on, they made do with the limited resources available to them. Their ability to remain strong and stay together, even in the face of such overwhelming danger, was nothing short of miraculous. Each boy had relied on the others for mental and emotional strength, holding on to hope and staying determined to survive. As the rescue operation ramped up, the entire world was captivated by their incredible story, and a global effort was underway to bring them all back home safely. The rescuers were overcome with immense relief when they found the boys alive, but they were also acutely aware that the most perilous phase of the operation was still ahead. The boys were trapped deep inside the Tham Luang cave, and the rising floodwaters meant that simply walking out was impossible. The only way to bring them to safety was through the submerged tunnels, which presented unimaginable challenges. Given the treacherous nature of the cave's complex structure and the weakened condition of the boys, the plan became clear. They would need to be sedated to keep them calm and transported through the flooded tunnels under the careful supervision of expert divers. To carry out this delicate task, a highly skilled medical team was assembled, led by Dr. Richard Harris, an Australian anesthesiologist renowned for his expertise in cave rescue medicine. Dr. Harris, along with his colleagues, conducted thorough assessments of each boy's health to determine the appropriate dosages of sedative to ensure their safety during the perilous journey. Though understandably frightened, the boys knew the severity of the situation and placed their trust in the hands of the rescuers. They understood that this was the only chance for survival. The rescue operation officially began on July 8, 2018, and would extend over the following days. Every step was critical, and every move had to be executed with precision. The boys were sedated to keep them unconscious and calm, fitted with full-face diving masks, and then guided through the murky, submerged passages by the expert divers. Each passage was navigated with meticulous care, utilizing guide ropes to steer the divers through the water-filled tunnels, ensuring the boys' safety while minimizing the risks. The divers had to work in zero visibility, feeling their way through the dark water, with the constant threat of further flooding and collapsing rocks. The challenges were immense, but the divers and medical staff pressed on with unwavering determination. The arduous process continued for 3 days, with divers making painstaking progress through the cave system, carefully ensuring that each boy remained safe and calm. The operation was both physically and mentally taxing for all involved, but their perseverance paid off. On July 10, 2018, after 3 days of precise and calculated work, all 12 boys and their coach had finally emerged from the cave's depths. One by one, they were brought safely out, and the sight of them standing in the light of day, free from the darkness they had endured, filled the air with both joy and disbelief. Families, friends, and rescuers stood at the entrance, tears streaming down their faces as they celebrated this miraculous rescue. Yet, the success of the operation came at a heartbreaking cost. During the mission, a former Thai Navy SEAL, Saman Kunan, tragically lost his life. He had been diving into the cave to deliver vital supplies when he ran out of oxygen. His passing, while performing such an essential role in the rescue, was a harsh reminder of the dangers faced by the rescue teams. Saman Kunan's sacrifice was deeply mourned, and his bravery was honored by everyone involved. His death underscored the immense risks undertaken by all those who worked tirelessly to bring the boys back to safety. His heroic actions will forever be remembered as a symbol of selflessness and courage. The rescue of the Wild Boars football team was not just a triumph of human skill and resilience. It became an emblem of unity and compassion on a global scale. The operation brought together rescue teams, medical personnel, military specialists, and volunteers from various countries, all working toward a single goal: saving the boys. The outpouring of support from around the world highlighted the very best of human nature. When faced with crisis, people will rise above their differences and come together to do whatever it takes to help one another. In the aftermath of the rescue, the boys were carefully monitored and treated for both physical and psychological trauma. They had endured a terrifying experience, but remarkably, their bond remained strong. The ordeal had tested them in unimaginable ways, but it also forged an unbreakable sense of unity. Each boy emerged from the cave with a newfound appreciation for life, strengthened by their shared experience. The world watched, held its breath, and ultimately celebrated the boys' survival. This extraordinary rescue operation, while a testament to human ingenuity and courage, also proved that miracles can happen, particularly when individuals work together to overcome impossible odds. The Wild Boars rescue not only demonstrated the power of teamwork and the resilience of the human spirit, but also left an indelible mark on history. It served as a reminder that hope, even in the darkest of times, is something worth clinging to. The legacy of the Wild Boars football team will forever be intertwined with the extraordinary compassion, bravery, and solidarity displayed by those who risked their lives to bring them home. It was, and remains, one of the most remarkable stories of survival, human perseverance, and the enduring power of hope ever told.